Hello, everyone. Today we'll be predicting the World Cup FIFA scores for every single match in the preliminary groups. Here, you'll see that we have every single match organized by the date. Now, I am someone who knows nothing about soccer. I know there's a player called Ronaldo and there's a player called Messi, and that's about it. But today, joined with me is my good friend Arya, who is a master at soccer scores and predicting soccer results. So you should please introduce yourself, Arya.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our World Cup 2026 predictions. This video is being made the day before the tournament starts, so the tournament will kick off tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time in the Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. So I hope you guys enjoyed this more of a fun analysis, and always be sure to comment in the comments what you think about our predictions and what you would change, what you agree with.
Yeah,
And with that said, yeah, let's get started.
let's begin. So, first off, we have Mexico versus South Africa. Now, I know nothing
Oh,
about their soccer teams, but what do you think, Arya?
all right. So, OG soccer fans will remember 2010 opening ceremony in Cape Town, South Africa. This was the opening game of that World Cup 16 years ago. We get the same matchup here, this time in Mexico City. Now, if we talk about the teams, on paper, Mexico should win this game. But the South Africans, they play a very fluid type of football. They are an African representative, so naturally they will be a bit feisty. But even though I do rate South Africa, Mexico's home advantage will lead them to victory. I'm gonna start off by saying 2-0 to Mexico.
Wow, what a prediction. I'm going to put that right on in, but you don't think South Africa's going to get a single goal?
Bafana, South Africa is very fun team to watch, but I think the Mexicans, the crowd's just going to get behind them. The Estadio Azteca, I think, is nearly, what is it, 80, 90,000 capacity, one of the most famous World Cup venues ever, so that's going to be the difference maker there.
I do also wonder, what do you mean by South Africa being more fluid?
They play a very fast flowing type of football, meaning that they kind of transition very quickly, they have some workhorses in the middle of the field, so they're always going to try to win the ball back as soon as they lose it. So very solid, very, very well positioned team, structurally very sound, but I think the Mexicans just have more quality in them.
All right, sounds reasonable. Next up, we got South Korea versus Czechia. What do we think about this one?
Ooh. So this is the second game of Group A tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, this is an interesting game because Czechia, for those who know, obviously qualified through the European playoffs, and they won both shootouts against the Republic of Ireland and I believe against Denmark in the final. So this is going to be interesting because Czechia, they do have the chemistry. South Korea, obviously an Asian powerhouse. They have the likes of Son Heung-min, Lee Kang-in, Kim Min-jae. So lots of European experience for the South Koreans. This is going to be a close game. I'm going to say 1-1, but I wouldn't be surprised if either team takes it here. But I'm going to say 1-1.
Fascinating. So, one in the case of 1-1, what happens? There's they
They just each get 1 point. So obviously, win is 3 points, draw is 1 point, and then loss is zero. So basically, each team plays three times in the group, and then at the end of the
yes,
third match day, whoever has the most points, like top two, progress, and 8 of the 12 best third place finishers move on to the round of 32 as well.
very very good. Sounds very nice. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I do remember there was in this city in particular, Guadalajara.
Mhm.
Was there a some conflict with a Mexican cartel in this city?
I'm pretty sure it was Guadalajara, but I don't exactly remember. But I'm pretty sure earlier this year there was some conflict there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
please stay safe if
looks like
you're
they
going to this
resolved it.
game.
Yeah, looks like they've increased security there. I think I don't have too much info there, but I'm sure FIFA knows what they're doing. So let's hope everything goes well.
Yes, of course. All right. Now moving on to the 12th of June, we have in the BMO field of Toronto, Canada versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but what do we think about this one?
Ooh, okay. So obviously, one of the teams I do support is Canada, and this game is played at BMO Field, which is obviously actually the smallest World Cup stadium, which is kind of surprising given Toronto's massive population, but nevertheless, it is the smallest stadium.
Mm,
And I saw a report earlier today that said that even though the game is in Canada, it is projected that we're actually going to have more Bosnian fans in the stadium than Canadian fans.
wow.
I don't know what that's gonna entail, but if you look at it on paper in terms of individual quality of the players, this is a very, very close matchup.
Mm,
But this, I'm going with the same rationale I had at the Mexico game. I think Canada, because they're playing in Canada, they're playing at home. It is a home World Cup, biggest game in Canada's history. I'm gonna say 1-0 to Canada. And I'm gonna say who's gonna score. Jonathan David in the second half. He's gonna get the winner for Canada.
wow. Let's see if that prediction turns out to be correct. It That's
Canada's
some
first ever World
incredible
Cup win.
foresight. Is there really that much of an advantage playing home field?
Yes, because when the game is close, you need the fans almost function as like a 12th man. You need that added energy to give you that extra kick
Oh.
to keep you going.
Well, hopefully I mean, of course, I would like Canada to win as well, but if you are a Bosnian fan, perhaps all the increased Bosnian fans in Toronto will help cheer a team to victory.
Let's see Bosnia's first time in 12 years appearing in the World Cup, so we wish them the best as well.
Of course. Now, next up, we have the USA versus Paraguay. Just judging on the size of the two countries, I'm assuming the USA is favored here, but what do you think?
Here's the thing, USA again, the third host country in this tournament. Again, the USA should win, but the USA, I'm sure many soccer fans know this, USA really can't be trusted nowadays when it comes to their performances. They could turn up one day and be one of the best teams in the world, or they could have an absolutely mid performance and disappoint. So Paraguay again, South American CONMEBOL side. They qualified in a very, very competitive division, obviously in South America. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if they cause an upset and take something away for the USA. I mean, maybe a point, maybe get the win.
Okay.
But I heard that they're missing their star player Julio Enciso, who got injured the other day. So because of his absence, and they don't really have too much going forward, I'm gonna say a narrow 2-1 win for the States.
Makes
And
sense.
this is gonna be a close game. This is gonna be a close game.
Yep. Makes sense. What kind of blunders have the USA been making lately?
USA, here's the thing. So in the most recent edition of the Copa America tournament, the last international tournament the US played in besides the Gold Cup, they were again the home team, very easy group, but failed to make it out of the group. Very disappointing. Lost to
Wow.
Panama, I believe. 2022 was okay. They made it out of the group against Iran and Wales and England, but sometimes they just don't turn up. I don't know, maybe it's the pressure, maybe it's the lack of drive to really get forward and score goals, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see what happens this time.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess I made a slight mistake here on the sheet because we have the 14th of June instead of 13th. But we do have Australia against Turkey on the 14th in Vancouver. Now, I, again, know very little about the two countries, but just based on sheer population, I'm going to guess Turkey is favored here. Would that be correct?
Again, very close game. Many people think that Turkey is the dark horse in this tournament. People think that Turkey will go far. First time appearing since 2002, so it's been a minute since they've last been here. But I just think the quality they have is just no match for Australia. They have one of the best young players in the world in Arda Güler and Kenan Yildiz. They have many, many, many players playing abroad. In the Bundesliga in Germany, in the Italian Calcio A. I just think that European experience and that Turkish passion, by the way, Turkish fans, shout out to them. They are crazy fans. I
Yep.
think that's going to get them over the line comfortably. I'm going to say 2-0 for Turkey here.
Oh, 2-0 for Turkey. Okay.
Yeah, 0-2. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, we're time traveling back to the 13th of June now. which is still in the future, but we have Qatar versus Switzerland. Now, for some reason, I feel like I've heard of Qatar when it comes to the World Cup. Was a match out there or something? Uh,
They hosted the previous edition of the World Cup. Yes, that is correct.
oh, okay. So, are they any good?
Now, even though they hosted the World Cup 4 years ago, by the way, very memorable World Cup, I'm sure, for
Hmm.
many people. Um, Here's the thing, though. In comparison to 4 years ago, they have massively dropped off, and Switzerland are a European powerhouse. They know how to win games. This is undoubtedly the most one-sided game I think we're going to predict so far. I'm going to say Switzerland wins 3-0 here
Wow,
comfortably. I think
what
they have
a
way too much momentum.
what a prediction! I guess all the training the athletes of Switzerland are doing in the Swiss Alps are going to help them greatly when they go to
Absolutely. Also,
lower
0-3.
elevation.
0-3, 0-3.
Oh, right. Sorry, yep, wasn't
As
had my
much as
eyes
maybe
closed for that one.
as much as maybe the Qatari fans would like a 3-0 in their favor, I doubt it's happening.
Yeah. All right. So next we have Brazil versus Morocco. I don't know anything about this one. Just go right ahead.
All right, this one here, two very strong teams, but you just can't rule out Brazil. Brazil, the most decorated national team in the entire history of football.
Yeah.
Neymar is back in the national team. That is a massive, massive W for the
Yeah.
Brazilians. Peak nostalgia. I just think I don't think it's going to be an absolute destruction because Morocco are legally the African champions. But I'm gonna say Brazil 2-0. I think Brazil
What?
firepower in the attack is just too much. Rafinha, Vinicius Junior, Neymar, it's just too much to handle.
Why is Morocco legally the champions? Is there a story there?
Yeah, so for those who for those who might be unaware, so the final for the AFCON, the African Championships, was held back in January of 2026, earlier this year. And it was Senegal versus Morocco in the final, and
Hmm.
Senegal actually won the game. It like on the field, they actually won. They beat Morocco, lifted the trophy, but around a month later, there were some legal proceedings that the Moroccan Federation opened against the Senegalese Federation for various disputes that happened during the game. They managed
Wow.
to win the legal disputes, and technically, they are considered to be the legal champions of Africa, though, because they technically lost on the field, many people consider Senegal to be the champion. So, now let's not get into too many details about that, but there's no denying that Morocco is a very strong national team.
All right. Fairly interesting. I mean, I recently actually went to the Billy Bishop Airport here in Toronto, and they have a World Cup display. I did see that Brazil actually won or was in many of a final match during the World Cup. So hopefully that prediction is correct, and they are as good as they were historically.
Yes, of course.
All right, next up we have Haiti against Scotland. Now, just knowing the geopolitical situation and the economic situation of Haiti, I'm gonna guess that Scotland has the upper edge here. But what do you think?
Scotland definitely has the upper edge. Haiti, I feel like, definitely one of the weaker national teams participating in this World Cup. I feel like the fact that they're even here is by its own, like on its own, a miracle. I just think that there's too much going on in their country. It's just definitely not going to help them by any means. But one thing that Haiti has done quite well recently is recruiting dual nationals, more specifically French Haitians.
Wow,
So those players will definitely help them in terms of maybe trying to cause an upset here. This is without a doubt Haiti's easiest game at this group, given just the sheer strength of Brazil and Morocco. Scotland, with all due respect, is weaker than both those teams. But I just don't see a world in which Haiti could possibly take away points from Scotland. I mean, Scotland, their midfield is stacked, they're a physical team, incredible fan base. I just think it's going to be really close, but I'm going to say a narrow 1-0 win for Scotland.
makes sense. All right.
Scott McTominay to get the goal.
Yeah. Well, let's continue on. Okay, we're back to the 14th of June, and in Houston we will have Germany versus Curacao. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes.
Now, what do you think about this one? I feel like
Similar,
go ahead.
Yeah, similar to Haiti, Curacao, again, another very small Caribbean country. Curacao is actually the smallest World Cup representative in history, which is, again, just a testament to show, like,
Wow.
I feel like just the fact that they're here is just a miracle. Um, Obviously, Mexico, Canada, and the United States obviously weren't in the CONCACAF qualification for this World Cup because they were hosts. But again, I think just the fact that Curaçao's here is a miracle. And I guess they will have some stories to tell in the future. They'll say that in our first World Cup game, we came up against four times World Cup champions Germany. So I feel like
Hmm.
it's going to be an absolute murder fest. Germany will feast upon the Curacao defense. But I just don't think that Curaçaoans will be even disappointed because the fact that they're here is already a miracle. So I'm going to
Wow.
say 4-0 Germany, but it's a win-win for either team here. Curacao are glad to be here. Germany looking to bounce back after two disappointing tournaments. So win-win here. 4-0 Germany.
Of course. Now, I mean, if it's any consolation to the any Curl Cell people watching in the comments, perhaps the fact that Houston, which is a relatively warm place, is probably has a more similar climate to Curacao compared to Germany. Maybe
That is
will
true.
sway in Curaçao's favor, but
Maybe. I mean, they definitely have that advantage against the Germans, but we will
yeah,
see. Maybe
but
I feel like the quality will eventually prevail.
you know, there's only so much the Heat can do, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
We wish them the best. Shout out to the Curaçaos out there.
Yep. Wish them the best. All right. Moving on, we got in Arlington, Netherlands versus Japan. Now, I'm not
Oh,
too familiar with this. I do think I've heard the Netherlands are fairly good at soccer or football, but is that true? Will they beat the Japanese here?
this is a very, very interesting game. Japan, as much as it pains me to say this as an Iranian fan, Japan is the strongest national team in Asia. They are many people's dark horses. People think that Japan will go very far in this tournament.
Hmm.
Netherlands, World Cup finalists in 2010, one of the best teams in Europe. But I have a slight feeling that in spite of the Dutch defense, don't get me wrong, phenomenal. Arguably the Netherlands have the best defense in this entire tournament. You just think of the quality; it's just
Okay.
too many defenders. I just think that this game will end up being a draw, and I'm
Wow.
gonna say
Okay.
2-2, high scoring game, and this is gonna be one to watch. Great game.
All right. I mean, I don't have the means to watch it, but I'll certainly be checking the scores to see if that one is correct.
Yes.
All right, now we have in Philadelphia in the Lincoln Financial Field, very good name. We have the Ivory Coast versus Ecuador. Now
Ooh.
I've seen I think on at least on the Billy Bishop airports that a lot of the South American teams are very good. Does that remain true to this day?
That is very true. Ecuador finished second ahead of Brazil and Colombia in World Cup qualifying in
Hmm.
CONMEBOL in South America. Again, just like the Netherlands, Ecuador have arguably the most solid defense in the entire tournament. Um, the only concern I have with Ecuador is their attack. Ener Valencia is 36 years old. He is still he's a bit of an unk, a bit of a World Cup legend.
Well,
Um, but I just don't know how they're going to score many goals. On the other hand, the Ivory Coast, who I actually had the privilege of watching last year at BMO Field in Toronto, very, very, very attacking minded team. And you think of their new emerging right winger, Yan Diomande, one of the brightest young prospects in the entirety of football. I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends 0-0 or 1-0 for either team. I'm gonna say 1-1, but this could go either way.
makes sense. And to any Ecuadorian fans out there, maybe the 30-year-old guy's experience will carry through. After all,
Hopefully.
there is value in experience.
There's value in experience,
Yep.
yes.
All right. Very good. Let's move on to in Monterrey. We have Sweden versus Tunisia. Now, I am again not too familiar with this, but just based on the positions the countries are in, I'm assuming Sweden is favored here. Would that be correct?
And you are correct. Yes, Sweden. Here's the thing. Tunisia is a very interesting national team because in World Cup qualifying, I believe they became the first ever team to never concede a single goal in the entire qualifying process, which is
Wow,
unbelievable. Don't
that's
get me wrong. Not a
incredible.
single goal conceded. And yet, the other day in their World Cup friendly preparation, I don't know how much you want to buy into friendlies, but nevertheless, it is still something to consider. They did get absolutely annihilated by a European side in Belgium, conceding five. So I
Mm,
don't really know what to expect with Tunisia. Sweden heavily underperformed in their World Cup group, made it through to the knockouts through their UEFA Nations League qualification berth, managed to squeeze through when it mattered most. Their talisman, their striker, their main man, Victor Gyökeres, turned up. Their attack is just lethal. They're a physical team. It reminds me of like a Viking type of strength. They're a very strong team.
yeah.
I just think Sweden are going to win, not comfortably, but I think
Hmm.
they will win 2-0 against Tunisia.
Wow. That's pretty incredible. Two of the most historically strongest sailor nations in the world. You got
Yes,
the
of
Norse
course.
Viking sailors. You got the Barbary pirates. Hopefully, their descendants will show us a great match in on June
Hopefully.
14th. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's move on. 15th of June, we got in Atlanta, Spain versus Cape Verde. Now, again, no shade to Cape Verde, but Cape Verde is a rather, population wise, I think much smaller than Spain. So I'm assuming Spain
Yeah.
is definitely favored here. Would that be correct?
Spain, European champions, many people's favorites to win the entire World Cup. Cape Verde, similar to, I would say, maybe not to the same extent as Curacao or the the other smaller nations in this tournament. Cape Verde qualified ahead of Cameroon in Africa.
Mm,
Lots of dual nationals because obviously it is a part Portuguese colony. Many
of
Portuguese
course.
dual nationals do play in Capo Verde. Um, but Spain is just on another level. You're talking about potential World Cup champions versus a team who would be happy just to get a point here in this group. This is going to be an absolute murder fest. I'm going to say Spain 5-1 here.
Wow. Okay. Pretty drastic prediction, but I'm all in for it. Let's move on to the next game in Seattle, Belgium versus Egypt. Now,
Oh,
I'm not too sure about this one, but we do have what is in history some of the most fertile flatlands there is in terms of civilization. So, which one would come up on top here?
let's see. This is, for those who don't know, I am Iranian, I am Persian. This is Iran's group. Belgium, Egypt, Iran, New Zealand. So naturally, I am going to have some bias towards my national team because why shouldn't I? I'm going to support my national team.
Of course,
And Belgium, I feel like as much as it pains me to say this, they are significantly better than both Egypt and Iran and also New Zealand. So they should top this group. And no shame to the Egyptians, much love. Not for this World Cup though. I would prefer an Egypt loss, and I think that will happen. I'm going to say a narrow 1-0 win for Belgium. Romelu Lukaku goal in the first half.
mm, makes sense. Makes sense. Well, in the same, is this still the same group actually?
This is nonsense. This is Group
Oh,
H
yeah.
now.
All right. So this is Group G. This is Group H. Okay. We got Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay in Miami Gardens. Which is that a city?
It's supposed to be Miami, yeah.
Oh, it's just okay. Sure. I guess that's Miami. So we got Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay. Now, again, I've said I've been through all the plaques of the past World Cup finals, and I've seen that the South Americans seem to be just absolutely dominant, at least in the past. So is that
Yes.
still the case here? Is Uruguay going to pull this off?
Again, Uruguay on paper, much stronger than Saudi Arabia. Uruguay are two-time world champions. To be fair, Uruguay have the golden, I wouldn't say the golden generation, but rather one of the more memorable generations of Uruguayan football in recent years, led by Luis Suarez, Edinson
Mhm.
Cavani, Diego Godin, Fernando Muslera. Those players are past their primes. Most of them, if not all of them, have left the national team, retired. Um, so Uruguay has, unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say this, has gotten worse in recent years. They play a very defensive, aggressive type of football. They're notoriously known for their aggression and defense and their counter-attacking football. Saudi Arabia, as much as their league has grown substantially since the last World Cup, their national team has declined. Um, I guess it makes sense given the fact that they're recruiting more international players than actual focusing on local development of players. This game could end nil-nil, but again, the South American experience, the South American fight will prevail here. Uruguay 1-0.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Now, Uruguay, very interesting nation with if I remember correctly, around 36% of their population, their capital. Very fascinating place to be. Hopefully, they come up on top here, just as we predict. And finally, we have on the 15th of June, Iran versus New Zealand. Now, I know you're biased here, but I'm also going to assume that Iran is favored to win here, based on the fact
Iran
that,
is favored to win here. New Zealand, the lowest ranked national team in the entire tournament. They qualified in, without a doubt, the least competitive confederation, the Oceanic Confederation. Um, so naturally, with this expanded format, New Zealand will always qualify. They are just far superior to the other surrounding islands in the ocean in Oceania. You think of Fiji,
of
Vanuatu,
course,
New Caledonia. New Zealand is just much stronger, much larger. But when it comes to the world stage, I mean, you're talking about Iran here, one of the Asian powerhouses, three-time Asian champions. Again, I am Iranian, so naturally there is a bit of bias. I am also, even though on paper we should win this game, I am very nervous about this game.
yeah.
I
So,
just think,
what I'm hearing, 10-0 to the Iranians.
no, 100-0.
100-0 to the Iranians. All right,
Yes,
that's our prediction. 100
that's
0 to the
prediction.
Iranians.
No,
It's
but in all
definitely gonna happen,
seriousness,
guys.
as much as the 100-0 would be nice, I'm gonna say 2-0 Iran.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, we're back in Santa Clara, and we have Austria versus Jordan. I am not too familiar with this one, so I'm just gonna let you take the wheel.
This is again a very one-sided game. Austria, maybe not incredibly strong, but in my opinion, highly underrated. I watched them in Euro 2024. I also watched them against Turkey in that round of 16 game. Many people actually thought Austria would win that game. Incredibly close and very thrilling game. Very underrated in my opinion. Austria, Jordan, first ever World Cup appearance, newly emerging Asian side. Don't get me wrong, great tourist place to visit. Jordan, very nice historic sites. I
Hmm.
believe they have a UNESCO National Heritage Site as well in Jordan, so
Wow.
pretty nice place. But then again, I just feel like you're talking about a European proven side coming up against a new emerging side in Asia. I just think the gap in quality is too much. Austria 3-1.
All right, makes sense. I mean, we could always see an upset with one of these new guys. Maybe they have some unique
Hey,
strategy
I'm
never
all for
conceived
it.
of.
This is
Yeah,
one of the beauties of the World Cup. I'm all for any
yeah.
upsets or surprises.
Although I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm not as familiar, but with a game as old as soccer, is there really that much new innovation happening all the time, or is it more like,
There is actually, yes, there is. I mean, the fact that this World Cup is expanded to 48 teams is one huge change. We get to see new teams like this introduce themselves to the world. So let's see if one of them can pull off an upset. Who knows? Maybe Jordan can beat Austria. That'll be
that
quite
would
cool.
be
Maybe
incredible to
Capo
see?
Verde can beat Spain. Let's see.
That would be probably the greatest upset, I would say. But
Yeah. Or
yeah,
maybe Curacao does something and somehow manages to beat Germany. You never know. I'm all for it.
you never know. All right, so next we have Rutherford, sorry, France against Senegal. Now you did say that Senegal was the uh, legally not the winner of the African League, but
That is correct.
uh, I do think that France is probably going to be just stronger here. Would that be correct?
Yeah, just like Spain, France, arguably the strongest team in this entire World Cup, if not definitely top three. Like this unbelievable talent, incredibly strong. Um, Obviously won the World Cup back in 2018. Won it as well back in 1998. So two-time world champions. This is actually the rematch of the opening game in the 2002 World Cup, where Senegal actually pulled off an upset over reigning champions France at the time, which was a
Wow.
crazy result. Again, goes to show that stuff like this could happen. France at the time were reigning World Cup champions, so both teams are incredibly strong, but just it's just France. So you just can't rule out France. It
Yeah.
has to be a French victory here.
All
I'm
right.
gonna say 2-0 France, but it's gonna be a nice watch this one.
Of course, and maybe we see an upset again, and Senegal will be able to beat their former colonizers. Anyways,
Yes, maybe they'll get a bit of revenge.
bit of revenge, yeah. All right, moving on in Foxborough, we do have Iraq versus Norway. Uh, presumably Norway is favored here, but I don't know.
Yeah, the Vikings are they're just too strong. Led by Erling Haaland, first ever World Cup for the big Norwegian number 9 up top. He should terrorize the Iraqi defense here. Iraq, by the way, with all due respect, again, Iraq and Iran are Asian rivals. Um, but I'm going to give my respect where it's due. Iraq had the hardest and longest World Cup qualifying journey. They had to make it through 5 rounds of World Cup qualifying to
Wow,
be here. They haven't been in this competition in 40 years. 1986 was the last time Iraq qualified. Um, Lots of heart, lots of passion in that Iraqi fan base, but Norway, to be fair, haven't been in this tournament also in since 1998. So they're not necessarily a notoriously proven World Cup side, but this is a different iteration of the Norway side, led by, as I mentioned, Erling Haaland, one of the best players in the world. This should be a comfortable victory for Norway. I'm gonna say 3-0 for Norway, but best of luck to Iraq.
of course, and Norway, plenty of natural resources, plenty of oil there. They're definitely gonna put it into good use into training their team. I hope, and hopefully they'll come
Hopefully.
out on top here.
Yes,
All
very
right.
good.
We have in Kansas City, Argentina versus Algeria.
Ooh.
Argentina is a South African, not South African. Sorry, South South American. Excuse me there. This is why I'm not a politician. I would make so many blunders. Anyways, so I'm assuming Argentina is going to come out on top here. Would that be correct?
Yeah, World Cup champions. They're going for the repeat, the back-to-back, the retention of the title. Won it
Yeah.
4 years ago in Qatar. Obviously, Messi's last World Cup. This is, I mean, he doesn't really need to win. Like, he already won the trophy. If he wins another one, he will become the undisputed greatest ever player of all time. Some would even say, even if he doesn't win it, he is already the greatest player of all time. The most decorated, most accomplished player in the entire history of the game. Argentina, still as strong as they were 4 years ago. Some would argue maybe a bit weaker because of the departure of Angel Di Maria, but they're coming up against a very technically gifted Algerian side. You talk about the North African flair, very technically gifted. One of my close friends is Algerian, so if he sees this, I'm very sorry, but I'm sure you'll respect my prediction here. Argentina 2-1.
2-1. All right. I mean, how old is Messi now? Is he retiring after this
Messi
year?
is, I believe, 39. So he's
Wow,
he's on the verge of retirement.
that is a pretty incredible age to get to as a professional sports player.
Yeah,
Although I will say there are
incredible.
some sports where the older you are, the better. So maybe I don't know if soccer is one of
Yes.
them, but maybe he's got that
Unfortunately.
experience.
Yes.
All right. Moving on, in Houston again, we got Portugal versus the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Now, my assumption here is that Portugal is probably going to have the advantage.
Yes, by a mile. DR Congo also very very difficult qualifying campaign.
Mm.
They have a quite a few actually players playing in England in the highest division of England, the Premier League. Um, Obviously French colony.
Yep.
Uh,
Oh no, the Democratic Republic of Congo is a Belgian colony.
oh, it's a Belgian colony. My
Yep.
apologies. Yes, you are correct. Yes, my apologies. That is correct. Yes. Very. To be honest, I don't really have too much info about the Congo national team besides a couple of their players. I know Yuan Wissa, Axel Tuanzebe, Wan Bissaka, decent players. But then again, similar argument to the one I made about the smaller national teams participating in this World Cup. Like you're coming up against the world's best here. You're coming up against the Portugal side who are in the conversation for champions. You have Cristiano Ronaldo as your leading
Oh yeah,
striker.
I've heard of that
He
guy. One of
he
two
has
guys.
never won the World Cup, unlike Messi. So he actually this is the last chance. He is 41, Jack.
Wow.
So he is actually older than Messi.
Wow.
Um, this is it for him. If he wins this, I mean, he can. I don't know. I mean, I feel like everyone knows what we're talking about here. So I'm not gonna try to talk too much about what's going on here. But
Yeah.
a lot at stake for Portugal. But the bare minimum should be like winning this game by comfortably by 3 or 4 goals. I'm gonna say 4-0 Portugal.
Makes sense. And even though he's 41, doesn't stop him from playing again. In 4 years, right? Is when the next one is held.
In 4 years, or maybe
Yeah.
45, he'll become the
Hey.
oldest ever World Cup player.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. He should stay on.
Of course, of course.
We'll be supporting him all the way.
I mean, if there's one guy
yeah.
who could do it, it's probably
Yeah.
him.
Speaking of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, by the way, I think last year they actually made a third of their country into a environmentally protected national park, which is
Oh,
pretty
that's very nice.
fascinating. Yeah, a pretty good environmental conservation there from the Congo. Anyways,
Very good.
moving on, in Arlington we have England versus Croatia. Now
Oh,
this one, I mean, both European nations, but I'm assuming England is favored here. I feel like generally, if you just take the nation with more wealth or more population, it seems like you're probably favored. Would that be right?
see, here's the thing. Croatia is one of those teams where you don't look at the size. Croatia is an unbelievably like it's a very fascinating national team because Croatia as a country is relatively small.
Mm,
Obviously, Croatia only like the first time they participated in the World Cup as their own country, I believe, was 2002, I believe, or 1998. One of them, I can't quite recall. Maybe 1998. Obviously, formerly part of the Yugoslavia.
yes.
Um, Croatia 2018 World Cup finalists, 2022 bronze medal winners beat Morocco in the third place game. So I'm sure you can like it sounds crazy to think such a small country like Croatia can be so good at the sport. And in fact, Croatia in 2018 in the semifinals of the World Cup beat England to make it to the final. So I wouldn't be surprised if Croatia pulls off an upset. I don't think they will win this game, but I definitely think they will take points away from England. I'm gonna say 0-0 in this game.
Wow. Okay. Interesting prediction.
I
Uh,
highly rate Croatia.
that's incredible. I mean, Croatians, you got a real fan right here.
Yes, very
Yeah.
good.
All right. Back in Toronto, we got Ghana versus Panama. Now, is Panama technically in South America? I kind of forgot where the border
Panama
is.
it counts as a North
Yeah, it's actually
American
North.
country.
Yeah, North America.
Yeah.
But I actually don't know for this one. I feel like both nations seem like they have at least demographically seems like they have advantages and disadvantages. So what do you say here?
Here's the thing: both countries, obviously massive fan bases. Both teams are not necessarily unfamiliar with the World Cup experience, though I wouldn't say they're maybe regulars. Ghana, obviously, many fans will remember their heroic 2010 run, made it all the way to the quarterfinals, nearly made history, becoming the first African team to make it to the semifinals, lost to Uruguay in 2010. This is a much, much weaker Ghana side than the last time we saw them in 2022. But they are led by former Iranian head coach Carlos Queiroz. So respect to Ghana for that. Panama, again, qualified in 2018 for the first time, I believe, in their history. Um, I think they're just happy to be here. Maybe they can take a point away from Ghana. I think this is their game where they have a chance to do something.
Yeah.
I'm going to think this is going to be a very close game. Again, wouldn't be surprised if it ends nil-nil, but I just think Ghana have more in them, and their head coach, very defensively astute manager. I don't think they will concede in this game. I think Ghana will win 1-0, and I'm going to say Antoine Semenyo to get the goal for Ghana.
Makes sense. And unfortunately for Panama, that canal is going to allow a soccer ball to come through. So it's a shame.
Yes.
Anyways, moving on. Okay, we're starting to get some, I think, uh, repeat countries. Not right now, but later down.
This is the
So,
last game of the first match day one, before we
ooh,
move on to
all
match
right.
day two.
Okay, so we'll do full analysis for this, but moving on, we might start to rapid fire some of them for just go a little bit quicker since we did already explain some of the teams. But we do
Yes.
have Uzbekistan versus Colombia. Now, Uzbekistan, based on their, I actually cannot remember right now how many people. Probably a lot, but I do remember that Colombia also in South America is
Yep.
probably has the experience. So would
Yep.
Colombia be favored here?
Yes. Uzbekistan first time qualifying. Very similar position to Jordan, as I mentioned earlier when we previewed Jordan. Though I think Uzbekistan are slightly stronger than Jordan, with all due respect. Um, Colombia, again, the South American flair, the intensity with which they play, the firepower on the wings. You think of Luis Diaz, Luis Suarez up top, James Rodriguez, the playmaking role. It's just the Colombian fans are obviously crazy as well. Wild fans, arguably the best fans of the entire tournament. Those guys are crazy. Made it to the final of the CONMEBOL Copa America South American Championships 2 years ago. Lost nearly in extra time to Argentina. Colombia should win this. Easy.
Okay,
Should win. 3-1 for Colombia.
3-1 makes sense. All
And
right.
with that, that is the conclusion of match day one of the World Cup.
Yeah, makes sense. And now we are having different matchups now, I believe. So let's rapid fire through some of these. First, we got Czechia versus South Africa. What do we think about this one?
So we already previewed every single team. I'm going to try to obviously move a bit quicker here. Czechia, South Africa. Huge game for both these teams because I believe I mentioned South Africa will lose to Mexico and Czechia will tie to South Korea. So in this game, both teams are looking for a win here. Czechia, again, stronger team on paper. South Africa have the vibes to them. Bafana, very fun
The
team to
fluid,
watch.
as you say.
The fluidity, yes.
Yeah.
Um, I think narrow. You know what? I'm gonna go with an upset here. South Africa 1-0.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough.
I just
It's a
think South Africa
believer of
might
the
pull,
South
pull off an upset.
Africans. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't make this chart large enough for this one match, but Switzerland versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. Uh,
Yes.
so, what about this one?
Switzerland just too strong. I've already mentioned it. They have so
Hmm.
much firepower. The majority of their team plays in the Bundesliga in Germany. A consistent World Cup team consistently makes it out of the knockouts.
Yeah,
They should win here 2-0 Switzerland.
makes sense. And up next, we have Canada versus Qatar. Now, I'm assuming Canada will win. They also have home field advantage. So,
Yes, they
what do we say
do.
here?
I'm going to say, again, comfortable. Qatar is arguably, maybe not the worst national team this tournament, but one of the worst, certainly. They're not in a very good position. Uh, Honestly, Canada 3-1 here.
3-1. All right. Up next, back in Mexico, we have Mexico versus South Korea. Now, South Korea, you said, is a very strong team, but Mexico does have the home field advantage. So,
Yes, they
who
do.
does
And
come out on top here?
I think Mexico, that home advantage will yet again help them out. Mexico 1-0, narrowly edging past South Korea here.
Very good. Up next, Turkey versus Paraguay. I not too sure about this one. I feel like both teams could be very strong, but what's your prediction?
I'm gonna say Ooh, this is going to be a tough one. Both teams play very differently in the sense that Paraguay is a very attacking, fast-paced side. Turkey has the quality on paper, uh, a more uh, a more fun team, I would say, to watch. Turkey. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a high-scoring game, 3-2 to Turkey.
Mm, very good. Up next, USA versus Australia. USA, what is it? Fourth largest country in the world by population. I'm
Yes.
assuming has the edge here. Also pretty wealthy.
Again, they should. I think they will. 2-1 USA.
2-1 USA. All right. Moving up next, we got Scotland versus Morocco. Now, I'm not sure if the Scottish are the greatest soccer players, but will they be able to beat Morocco here?
This seems like a very, very physical game. Both teams are very physical, Scotland more so than Morocco. Um, but Morocco are a much more enjoyable team to watch, much more technically sound. I'm going to say a 2-1 win for Morocco, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Scots do something here.
All right. Up next, Brazil versus Haiti. Now, Brazil's probably going to win this, I think,
Yeah, this is
unless
going to be
yeah.
another murder fest
So what
here.
do we
This is
think?
going to be.
Like a 4-0?
You know what? I want to say 4-0. Yes, I agree with
All
you.
right. Makes sense. Up next, Tunisia versus Japan. Uh, I mean, I don't know about this one, but I'm gonna guess that Japan may be favored here. Would that be correct?
Japan would be favorite, although this last time Japan were in a position like this where they came up against the weakest team in their group, they actually lost. And I'm thinking
Oh,
back to 2022 when they were in a group with Costa
yeah.
Rica. They actually lost that game 1-0. So, and it was also
Fascinating.
ironically their second game, and this is their second game. So Japan may have a second game syndrome here. Um,
What is that?
Performing poorly in the second game of the group.
That's the
Uh,
actual thing.
that is an actual thing, yes.
But why does it happen?
Um, that's a very good question. Maybe it's some sort of, I don't know actually. Maybe
Wow.
last time they also did start off against a very strong team in Germany, won that game. This time they start off against the Netherlands. So very similar predicament I think they find themselves in. But this time I feel like the Japan team in 2026 is much stronger than the one in 2022. Tunisia, again, I really couldn't tell you what I could expect from them because they could either be incredibly good defensively or horrible defensively. Japan narrowly 1-0.
All right. Makes sense. Uh, Moving up next, we do have Netherlands versus Sweden. Uh, both European, both fairly wealthy, I would say. So I cannot really provide an answer here. Which one would come out on top?
The Netherlands should win this. Netherlands should win this. I think they will also keep a clean sheet. I don't think they will concede.
Mm,
In spite of Sweden's phenomenal strikers, I'm going to say 2-0 for the Netherlands.
all right, makes sense. Up next, Germany versus the Ivory Coast. Presumably, Germany is favored here, based on pretty much everything about the country. Would I? Could we get a score for
Germany,
this?
Germany is favored. Germany is favored. Ivory Coast is a very strong African nation. Very strong African nation. Lots of respect for Ivory Coast.
Yes.
Um, Again, this is on paper, it seems like Germany should win this comfortably, but Ivory Coast is a very strong national team. Lots
Mm,
of firepower in the attack. Um, but I still think the Germans are going to win here 2-1. Close game.
okay, 2-1 makes sense. Now, the Ivory Coast, famous for its ivory, I suppose, which is why it was called the Ivory
That is
Coast.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
Unfortunately, probably not producing much ivory anymore.
Unfortunately. The
Yeah.
French, as they would call it, le Côte d'Ivoire, as the
Le
French would
Côte
say.
d'Ivoire, yes. And then we also have the Gold Coast, which is colonized by Britain, right next to
Yes.
it. I will say though, speaking of ivory, just a side tangent for any of those coming from my, main channel, Arco Boleno. You may know the obscure facts that for some reason in the game EU4, the province, one province in Greenland, for some reason produces ivory. Um, now, I don't know why that is, but maybe this obscure fact will help the Ivory Coast to their victory.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah. All right. Next, Ecuador against how do you say this was pronounced? Curacao.
Curacao.
Curacao. All right. Ecuador probably wins.
Ecuador should win, yes. Not by a big margin. I feel like this is the game that Curacao has the most chance in of getting something, just because Ecuador isn't the most attacking minded side, though defensively they are impeccable.
Yep.
1-0 for Ecuador.
Okay. Oh, my sheet is not working. There we go. Spain versus Saudi Arabia. You already said Saudi Arabia is probably one of the worst teams in the in this whole tournament, right? So I'm assuming Spain wins here.
Spain should win, yeah, comfortably as well, I believe. I'm going to say 3-0 for Spain.
Okay, makes sense. Up next, we got Iran again. Belgium versus
Oh,
Iran. Now, you did say Belgium was a pretty good team, but I'm feeling that maybe this is like a 0 to 50 kind of game, you know?
yeah, I feel like Iran will score 50 goals and win comfortably, yes.
Yeah. Oh,
There we go,
I know 590.
590.
Yeah,
There.
there we go. That's the score.
No, but in all of seriousness, obviously, if you ask any neutral, they would think I am crazy for this, unless, of course, you ask any other Persians. Um,
Okay.
but I don't know why. I just have a sneaking suspicion we won't win this game. I don't think we will win this game. Belgium is simply too strong. But I also don't think we'll lose this game.
Oh,
Iran tends to perform very well in their second game, contrary to Japan, as I mentioned.
wow.
If you think about it historically, in 1978, we drew 1-0 with Scotland. 1998, we beat the US in our second game. In '06, I believe our second game was against Portugal, which was we were level until the 60 something minute. Again, decent performance. 2014, we lost in the last minute to Argentina second game. 2018, narrow loss to Spain again. Like we're talking about coming up against top tier opposition and losing by very fine margins in our second game.
Mm.
This is a very similar predicament. Belgium, again, very strong. Iran tends to perform well in their second game. I really want to say 1-1, and I'm going to say 1-1. I
All
have to have
right.
faith. I just can't.
Lock
I
it
just
in.
can't rule out my
Lock it
country.
in. You know, the first step to something happening is you believing. So let's get it.
Exactly. The
Yeah,
optimism.
yeah, we gotta be optimistic here. And I mean, I'm not rooting for either team, so I'll just go with what you say.
Right? Yeah. So you should vote. You should root for Iran.
Oh, I will, but I'm not gonna be there at the in Inglewood. Um,
England. Close
um,
to Los Angeles, by the way, downtown
yeah.
Los Angeles.
Unfortunately, I can't afford $10,000 for World Cup ticket, which appears
Yes,
to be the
FIFA, if you
price.
hear this, respectfully, please. I know it's too late now, but respectfully, please reconsider your pricing of tickets.
Yeah. Also, maybe don't allow people to resell them. Would be my suggestion.
Yeah, that's also will be greatly appreciated.
Yeah. All right. Up next, Uruguay versus Cape Verde. I'm not sure. Uruguay probably wins here, right?
Yeah. Again, just by the nature of Uruguay's playing style, very defensive. I don't think they'll win comfortably, but they will win 1-0 Uruguay.
All
Darwin
right.
Núñez to score. Shout out to my close friend who's a big Darwin Núñez fan.
Okay. Up next, New Zealand versus Egypt. Now, you did say that New Zealand had a very easy path in Oceania, and Egypt, of
That is
course,
correct.
very populous, very tough, and probably has the advantage of climate, etc. So, I'm gonna say that Egypt probably is favored here. Would you agree?
Egypt is favorite, yes. Um, Funny, well, before I give you my prediction for this game, this is actually very interesting. Egypt are seven-time African champions, the most decorated team in the entire continent of Africa.
Mm,
And yet, in spite of their continental success, they haven't won a single World Cup game in their entire history,
wow.
which is insane. That is a crazy statistic. But I think that ends here today. I think they will defeat New Zealand. New Zealand also have not won a World Cup game, but obviously not as drastic as the fact that Egypt haven't won. I
Makes
think
sense.
Egypt will win 2-0 here against New Zealand.
Okay. Makes sense. Up next, we got Argentina versus Austria. Now, we do have Messi on the side of Argentina.
Yes, we
A
do.
39-year-old, a perfect age for playing soccer. So, I'm assuming Argentina is favored?
Argentina is favored. Argentina will win. Argentina will win 2-1 here. Messi will
Okay.
score. Mark my words.
Yeah. Maybe he'll score twice.
Maybe he'll score twice.
Yeah. All right. Up next, France versus Iraq. France probably wins this.
This is
Yeah.
again unbelievably one-sided. I'm actually going to say this. I think did I predict a five? I think I did predict one
You've
5-0. I'm gonna say another
5-1
5-0 here.
over here for Spain versus Cape Verde.
5-1. This is gonna be the biggest margin of victory. France will win 5-0 against Iraq.
5-0. Wow. A bloodbath, unfortunately, for all the
Yeah.
Iraqis out there.
They make good
Uh,
shawarma, but I don't know how they'll help them here.
hey, you can bribe the players of France with good shawarma. I mean,
Yes.
they only know their cheeses. They don't know the shawarma. Teach them the shawarma ways.
Yes, maybe they'll take it easy.
Yeah. All right. Up next, Norway versus Senegal. Now, you
Oh,
had
oh.
great praise for Norway, but Senegal, is the legally not the winner of the. I'm just gonna call them this from now on. Legally not the winner of the African League. So I'm gonna guess that Norway probably is favored, but
This is one of the most entertaining games of the World Cup, I think, in the group stages. This is
oh,
such a contrast to you're thinking of a peak Western African team coming up
mm,
against the Viking, like a Viking Scandinavian. You think of tall, strong Norwegians. This is complete contrast on paper, on the field, and yet both are so strong. This will be a high scoring game, 3-3 here.
wow, interesting prediction.
Fun watch this one.
All right, keep an eye out for this one then. Up next, Jordan versus Algeria, and I think to the pleasure of your Algerian friend, Algeria is probably going to win this one. Would that be correct
Algeria will
here?
probably win the battle of two Arabic speaking nations, one in Northern Africa, one in the Middle East.
Hmm.
Algeria, stronger, better players, better manager, uh, stronger confederation they play in, more history in the tournament as well. Just Jordan's first time, as I mentioned. Algeria should win. Again, not by much, but I'm going to say 2-1 win for Algeria.
All right. I will say shout out to Algeria for having one of my favorite tags to play in the video game Victoria 3, a nation known as Tolgarot. A very, very hard start if you're interested in a challenge in that game. I know it's unrelated to soccer, but we brought up Algeria, so I'm going to just mention it here.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, up next, we got Portugal versus Uzbekistan. Now, I mean, we got the 41-year-old, an even better age to play soccer than 39. So I'm assuming Portugal is winning here.
Yeah, they will win here. 2-0 Portugal. I think that's a
Two
fair
nil. All
prediction.
right,
Yeah.
sounds good. Up next, England versus Ghana. Probably England wins.
England will win. England will get their first win in this World Cup. As I mentioned, I predicted they will draw with Croatia. They will get their first win here. They will beat Ghana 3-0, I would
3
say here.
nil. All right. Okay, up next we got Panama versus Croatia. You had some high praise for the Croatians, so I'm going to say that the
I
Croatians
did.
are favored here.
I will say 4-1 for Croatia here. Croatia, I
Wow.
highly rate them as a team. They are a very old team, but I guess the experience will inevitably also help them. There's no denying that the quality is still there, the class is still there. It's just maybe some of the age may eventually get to them later in the tournament, but against Panama, it's an easy win.
Okay, makes sense. Now, up next we got Colombia versus the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Probably Colombia is favored here, would be my guess.
Colombia will win. Colombia will win. I was gonna say comfortably, but I actually think that the Congo will put up a fight in this game. I just have a feeling in the Guadalajara Mexican heat, the Africans may have a say in this game.
Mm.
I'm
Well, you
gonna
gotta you
say
gotta remember, Colombia, also a nation that is located very
that is
close to
very
the
true.
equator. So
That is very true.
I'm not too sure
Um,
about that one.
Colombia will win. They will not win comfortably, but they will win 2-1.
Okay, sounds good. Up next, we got Switzerland versus Canada. Now, you had some very high
Ooh,
praise for Switzerland, but of course, we're gonna favor Canada here because we're in
of
Canada,
course, we do
uh,
live in Canada,
and it
yes.
is in Vancouver, so maybe the Canadians will get home field advantage. What do you think
This
about
is, by
this
the
one?
way, just on a side note, this is the first game of the third and final match day. So
Oh,
obviously each team will play three times. It's the first game of the third match day. Um, we're approaching the end of the group stages, so there's going to be some very, very high stake games here for all the countries. Um, Switzerland versus Canada. I love Canada. I also really like Switzerland. Switzerland is stronger. Switzerland should win, but Canada has the home advantage.
mm,
Canada will also be looking to cause an upset here. This is one of the games where I think of the tournament where many people will not predict this. This is going to be an upset and unexpected prediction. Canada will beat Switzerland at BC Place in Vancouver 1-0, and it will be an unexpected goal scorer, Jacob Schaffelberg, the Maritime Messi. Come
okay,
on, Canada.
lock that in, guys. Lock that in for the prediction, and we'll see if it's right.
Yes.
All right, moving up next, we got in the Lumen Field of Seattle, we got the Bosnian Herzegovina versus Qatar. Now, Qatar again, you said not the greatest team in the world, so Bosnia winning here, I'm assuming.
Yeah, respectfully, Qatar has no chance. Bosnia qualified over Italy. I think that already says a lot. Bosnia will win this game. I feel like their legendary 40-year-old striker Edin Dzeko will
Yeah,
score in his in what will be his last game. I think Bosnia will go out of the group
mm,
stages. This will be his last ever World Cup game. Bosnia will win 1-0, and it will be their 40-year-old captain to get the job done for the Bosnians.
excellent. Up next, Scotland versus Brazil. Brazil seems like it might be the favorite team here. Would that be correct?
Brazil will be the favorite team. Brazil will win 2-0, and I'm going to say this is the game where Neymar scores in and returns to his brilliant best.
Okay. Up next, we got Morocco versus Haiti. Uh, Presumably, Morocco wins here.
Morocco
Oh,
will win. The African giants are simply too strong. 3-1 for Morocco. I feel like Haiti will score. Um, a bit of a sidetrack, bit of a tangent. Haiti's striker does play for an Iranian side in the Iranian Pro League. I feel like he will score Haiti's goal. So shout out to
mm,
the Haitians, but Morocco is too strong.
yes. Up next, we got Czechia versus Mexico. Now, this game is being played in Mexico City, the heart of Mexico. So I'm
Yes.
assuming Mexico gets that nice home field advantage. So would it be safe to say Mexico wins here?
Mexico will not win because I highly doubt Mexico
Oh,
will go
okay.
3 for 3. But they will not lose. They will finish 7 points. They will win Group A. They will finish top of Group A, and they will finish on 7 points with a 0-0 draw against Czechia here.
Interesting. Okay, up next we got South Africa versus South Korea, both southern parts of the world they're in, I suppose. So in the
Yes.
battle of the Souths, who is favored?
In the Battle of the South, I will take the Koreans. Their kimchi powers will prevail over the Africans.
Of course, of
Um,
course.
I think the Koreans will win 2-1, I will say.
Okay,
Sun Heung-min to get the winner for South Korea.
all right, makes sense. Up next, Ecuador against Germany. Now,
Oh,
Ecuador
okay.
is in South America, but Germany is a pretty large nation, so I got no real prediction here. What do you think?
This will be a horrible watch for the neutrals because it's just defense upon defense.
Mm,
This, like, if you're neutral, avoid this game by all means. But if you're a German or an Ecuadorian or just you're a big football enthusiast like me, then tune in. This
Yep.
will end. I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends 0-0 as well, but I'm going to say the German the German strength will eventually prevail. The German discipline will lead them to victory. I'm going to say a 1-0 win for Germany. Kai Havertz to score for Germany.
Okay. And it just so happens I actually do have two friends from Ecuador. So if you're watching this,
Sorry if you're watching this video.
yeah, apologies. I'm sure your team is great. Maybe they will turn into an upset. Maybe the defensive team will decide that the best defense is offense. Um,
Perhaps
and
I'm all for
yeah,
it. I rate Ecuador as well. Great team, but we're talking about Germany here. Right? Come on.
yeah. All right. Up next, I forgot pronunciation again.
Curacao.
Curacao, yep, Curacao against the Ivory Coast. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate. I only see nations' names on like the screen or paper. I don't see them. I don't really pronounce them usually.
Yes.
But Curacao against the Ivory Coast. You've said again that Curacao, very incredible chance
Small
that they
nation.
even qualified. Would they be able to overcome the Ivory Coast here?
They will not. Ivory Coast, as I've already mentioned, very strong African side. You think of their attack,
Mm,
Yan Diomande, Anjuan Boni, Yawahi. This very, very strong team. It just talent after talent. Curacao, they're Dutch colony, lots of dual nationals. They've recruited a lot of Dutch Curaçaoians. They just don't have it. I strongly think Curacao will finish with 0 points in this tournament. I'm very sorry. Ivory Coast 3-0 here.
okay. Up next, Japan versus Sweden. Uh,
Oh.
what do we think?
Very interesting game here. Very interesting. Japan, Sweden, both teams will be looking for qualification to the round of 32. This is tough. This is tough because if you look at if you look at this continentally, European football is by far superior to that of Asian football. But we're talking about the best team in Asia against a pretty mid-European side. I just think that Japan will prevail, but very narrowly 1-0 for Japan.
Okay. Up next, Tunisia against the Netherlands. I think you did have some good praise for the Netherlands, so I'm assuming they're
Yes, I did.
favored to win here.
Yes, very defensively astute. Think of the physicality of their team. They have a very unique style of football where they control the game, they don't rush things, they have their flair, they have their individual quality, but they're a very disciplined side who don't tend to rush, very good on set pieces. Tunisia, as I mentioned, I don't really know what to expect from them. They could be either incredibly good defensively or quite poor. Netherlands should win regardless, though. 2-0 for the Netherlands. Cody Gakpo brace.
Okay. Up next, Turkey against the USA. I don't know what to think about
Oh
this one.
yeah.
I'm assuming USA might be favored to win here. Is that
I'm actually
correct?
gonna say 1-1 because both teams are
Oh,
quite strong actually.
okay.
Um, I just think Turkey is a very exciting team, lots of young talent mixed with experience. The
Yeah.
USA, this is a very talented crop of American players, but as I've mentioned, you don't know if they'll turn up. Maybe one day they'll
Mm,
turn up and beat the likes of a Germany or a Portugal. Maybe another day they'll end up losing to Australia. You never know. So I'm gonna say 1-1 here to play it safe.
makes sense. I mean, not even with the home field advantage, the USA will win.
No, I don't think so. I think the
Okay.
Turks will
Wow.
get something here.
All right, up next, Paraguay and Australia. Now, Paraguay is in South America, so I'm assuming they got that experience.
Paraguay does have the experience. Australia is a strong national team as well. A very young Australian team actually. Obviously, you have your veterans in there like Jackson Irvine, Aziz Behich, Matty Ryan. They have the experience, but very young and generally inexperienced Australian side. I feel like I wouldn't say they're just happy to be here because Australia regularly plays at the tournament. But I just don't think that this crop of Australian players has enough to beat Paraguay. Paraguay will get their only win in this tournament with a 1-0 win over Australia.
Okay. Up next, Norway against France. Presumably, France is favored here.
France should win, but just like I mentioned when it comes to the Senegal versus, I believe I mentioned Senegal versus France was a very enticing watch. Norway versus France will also be a very, very exciting game to view because if you think about France, obviously much stronger. But
Mm,
Norway have one of the best players in the world, one of the best strikers in the world, one of the best goal scorers in Erling Haaland. On the other side, coming up against another very, 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 very good superstar in Kylian Mbappe. They have the reigning Ballon d'Or best player in the world winner Ousmane Dembele. So France is very, very strong. I feel like everyone knows that. World Cup heavy favorites. But I don't think it will be an absolute annihilation. I feel like it will be a very high scoring. I'm actually going to say this is going to be the most goals we're going to see in a game at the group stages 4-3 in favor of France.
wow. I mean, that is a lot of goals. 7 goals. Incredible.
I feel like it's going to be a great, great watch. That one.
Okay. Up next, Senegal against Iraq. Now,
Yes. Yeah.
the legally not the winners of Africa should probably beat Iraq here, is my assumption.
The Senegalese will win. The Senegalese will progress to the knockouts and they will win against Iraq comfortably with a 2-0 win. Actually, no, 2-1. I'm going to give Iraq a
2-1.
goal here. I think Ayman Hussein, their iconic striker, will score a goal that will live long in the hearts of all Iraqi supporters, but I feel like Senegal is just too strong.
Okay. Up next, we got Uruguay against Spain. Spain seems like it would probably be better here, but does Uruguay pull it through?
Spain will finish this group with 9 points, 3 for 3, comfortable 2-1 win over Uruguay.
Okay. Sounds reasonable. Up next, Cape Verde versus Saudi Arabia. Now, you've kind of said that both teams are not the maybe not the best. So, what would we be thinking? Maybe like a tie here?
This this is an important game for both teams because at the end of the day, it is a World Cup. They're probably not going to progress out of their groups, although maybe a win here would be huge for either national team. Not necessarily only for the stakes of this tournament, but rather in just in their history to be able to say
Mm,
we won a World Cup game is just massive. I think although Saudi Arabia is weaker than they were years ago. Maybe they're not as strong as they were in the 90s. I'm thinking about the 1994 World Cup where they beat Belgium in the knockout. So they're definitely not as strong as they were back then. But the Saudi Arabian experience and the Asian Middle Eastern grit, the physical football that they play will prevail against Capo Verde.
okay.
Saudi Arabia will finish this group with 3 points and a narrow 1-0 win over Cape Verde.
Okay. So, 1-0. All right. Up next, Egypt against Iran. Now, we know Iran will win, but what's the
Of
analysis of like
course.
a
Actually,
neutral?
this is a very, very stressful game for me because, first of all, I will be going to this game in Seattle.
Wow.
Egypt versus Iran is my first ever World Cup game. Watching my country play live is just a unique experience, unique feeling. I'm grateful for
Incredible.
that. And this game is also very high stakes because Egypt and Iran are very evenly matched. And if you think about it, finishing second place and progressing to the knockouts means so much to both of these national
Mm,
teams. Egypt, as I mentioned, have never won a World Cup game. Iran, this is their seventh World Cup appearance and have never progressed to the knockout stages. So there's so much at stake. If you think about it, also it's a bit of a feud in terms of a bit of history as well, because you're talking about the Persians coming up against an Arab powerhouse in Egypt. So naturally, there's a bit of not want to say conflict, but there's a bit of extra added tension as well.
of course.
This is going to be a very scrappy game. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of red cards in this game as well. I feel like it will be really,
Mm,
really high intensity, high stakes.
okay.
I'm just hoping, for the sake of the fact that I'm going to this game, I really hope we win, but I'm going to say 0-0.
Oh, wow. No,
I
no.
just think that's a fair result. I just can't think of a better fixture that ends 0-0 than Iran versus Egypt. I think it's the most evenly matched up teams in the entire world, I think. They're just too
Okay.
similar.
I mean, let's just hope that there's not that many fights in this game.
Let's hope
We,
not.
we don't want to
If there
turn
is, I will
soccer into
report it to you
hockey.
live.
Yeah. All right. Up next, New Zealand against Belgium. Presumably, Belgium wins here.
Belgium should win. Yeah, Belgium. I think this is the game where New Zealand will get a goal. Actually, I think I predicted they will score against Egypt as well, but I think they will get a goal against Belgium. But I think Belgium will win 3-1.
Oh, 3-1. Okay.
Yeah, 3-1.
Makes sense. Up next, Panama against England. Probably England's favorite.
This fixture, we saw it in 2018. Panama scored their first ever World Cup goal against England, but they conceded six. So,
Oh, wow.
whatever that's worth. That was 8 years ago. England, I would say, arguably stronger than 2018, possibly, although that's up for debate. But nevertheless, England will win. Maybe not 6-1, but they will win 4-1.
Okay. Sounds like a reasonable prediction. Up next, we got Croatia against Ghana. Now, Croatia seems like a pretty good team based on what you said. I'm assuming Croatia wins here.
Croatia will win, but not by much. And I'm thinking of Ghana's defensively minded coach Carlos Queiroz. He loves to line up very defensively, especially against stronger teams. Croatia have the firepower to break through the Ghanaian defense. They will win, but they will win 1-0.
Okay, 1-0. Sounds good. Up next, Colombia against Portugal.
Oh, wow.
We got the 41-year-old soccer master on one side, and we got some South American experience on the other. How do we feel about this one?
This is going to be a very fast-paced game. Um, I don't think it'll be as intense just because at this point I think both national teams will have already progressed. Like they've already confirmed their qualification to the next round, so they might take it a bit easy, but they will still be fighting for that first place in this group.
Mm,
I think Portugal is stronger. I feel like Colombia is a more exciting team. But I think you just can't rule out Portugal. I'm going to say 2-1 Portugal here. It's going to be a good game.
okay,
Ronaldo to score the winner. There we go.
excellent. Up next, three more left. We got Democratic Republic of the Congo against Uzbekistan. Now, I feel like this might be a draw situation. Would you agree?
That is very correct. I was going to say this is going
Oh
to end
wow,
0-0. Both teams are respectable, but both teams will struggle to break each other down. I feel like they will be satisfied with the point each. Um, yeah, I think 0-0 is a fair result for this.
fair enough. Up next, Algeria against Austria. Uh, now, to the dismay of your Algerian friend, I'm assuming Austria is favored here.
Austria, this is one of those very evenly matched up games as well because
Oh
Algeria
wow,
is
really?
very, very strong African nation. Very, as I
Okay.
mentioned, very, very technical, very technically gifted side.
Yep.
Lots of individual quality. Austria is a more physical team with a bunch of individual quality as well. Um, a team who many people don't seem to rate as highly as I do. Maybe I just rate them so
Mm,
highly because I actually watched them play in 2024 in
yep.
the European Championships. Um, I think this game will be close. This game will end also in a draw, similar to Congo Uzbekistan, but not 0-0. This will end 1-1.
All right. Sounds good. And finally, we have Jordan against Argentina. You've talked about both teams. Probably going to be a bloodbath. Would be my assumption here.
This will be another annihilation, although I feel like Argentina would heavily rotate in this game given how they've already won their previous two. They
Mm,
will not play Lionel Messi in this game. They will rest him for the round of 32. And by the way, stay tuned for a round of 32 predictions after the group stages.
yep.
And for the last prediction of this video, I will say that Argentina's second rotated team will beat Jordan with a 2-0 scoreline.
All right, but we're not ending here because we're gonna do two more predictions. Because we're gonna predict the world winner, which we all know is Iran, but
Of course.
Yeah, but we also got the real world. Fake world winner. Who do you think would win the world championship?
I think Senegal will be the fake world winner.
Oh, by the way,
No,
what
but
I mean by this is like, who do you think actually will win?
here's the thing: should we announce that now, or should we leave that for the next round of predictions?
I want you to predict now, and then we can predict again after we've seen all these games.
All right. So I guess for now, I'm going to say. And by the way, make sure you watch the future videos that we will make about the knockouts. But this is the group stage
course.
predictions, initial group stage predictions. Based on everything I predicted today, I will say that Spain will be world champions.
Okay, so Spain will be the fake world winner, and then Iran is the real world winner. Sounds
Of course,
good.
we will win.
We're gonna confuse everyone who decided to skip right to the end to see all the results. Alright. Okay, so
All right, guys.
yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let's quickly just scroll through every single result. We're not gonna announce them. You can just see them on the screen for yourself. Very, very good. Please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and be sure to come back for our predictions once all of the brackets are over and we get to the top 32 teams.
Sounds good. I hope you enjoy the World Cup, guys. Thank you very much for watching.
Yep.
I wish you all the best. It's going to be a very, very memorable World Cup.
Of course.
I'm sure it'll be great for everyone. Hopefully, lots of fun memories.
Yeah.
And we will come back for the round of 32 once the group stages are finished.
And hopefully by then, I would know a little bit more about soccer than I did at the start of the video. All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Take care.